So I'd like to come back today a little bit to ground forces and function. So I mentioned biological fitness the other time, a few weeks ago, and how it's connected to gravity, reversibility, ground forces. And I'd like to speak about this, to expound a little bit about it, with a few short examples of some awareness through movement sequences, a lesson of transitioning from lying to sitting. And I would like to, and as you may know, some of you, that we're very keen on function. Function is a very big subject in our work. But there are also specific awareness through movement lessons that are just about a specific function, right? And even though they don't only help you with that specific function, that function is celebrated in a lesson, so it is basically, at the end of the lesson, it's what you do, sometimes with variation on the theme. But this is one of those lessons. This is sort of a classic lesson of a transition from lying to sitting. And I will show a few movements, few small sequences of movements in that lesson, and show you what kind of things I like to pay attention to when I do this lesson. Okay? All right. I'm going to lie on the floor. The lesson starts with leaning a little bit towards the side. So I'm leaning towards my right side with my right knee bent out to the side. Left foot is standing. And the lesson begins with an exploration of a movement of lengthening the left leg and lifting the head simultaneously, right? So right from the get-go, before I even start moving, I know that there are specific places where I have more ground forces working through me, right? I can feel that my hip joint and the area around it is well organized on the floor, my shoulder blade, my ribs on the upper right side. There is a gap here. There's a place where there is very little contact, or little contact is felt. The right leg is fully on the floor, and the left standing foot and the head are resting on the floor the way they do. As I begin to explore this movement, I can begin to sense that right from the beginning, even if I'm not going very far, there's a shift in ground forces. As I'm lifting my head, and there's a point is being made about the timing. If I don't lift my head at the right moment, this movement can't happen. I can't lift my head and then throw my leg, I can't throw my leg and then remember that I need to lift my head. But if they happen at the same time, I float up very easily, especially if I join in with my left arm, which in turn pulls on that shoulder and brings me up very easily. There's also the detail of where is the right arm, right? Which may seem very obvious, but until you play with it and find your own way of organizing, your own trajectory, you wouldn't know if this is a better position when you go this way, or if you want to come up to sit, maybe you bring it this way, and then you'll be compromised and not be able to hold yourself. So there is a best placement for that arm. And then it looks like I'm not doing anything. It's just so easy, right? So is it reversible? Of course it's reversible. This is one of the beautiful things about this work, is that, especially about this specific lesson and this function, I can at any given moment stop, reverse, and reverse again. So it's really like a very smooth, nice, transitional seesaw type movement, right? As I come up, and again, all of those ground forces are felt very clearly, and they come in very handy when you look at reversibility, right? When you lie on your side and roll around, it's the same thing, Can you learn to do these lessons? Even a simple lesson as rolling over, back and forth. Can you begin to experience those lessons from under you, right? If the lesson begins with me moving this way, it's not about the movement up here. What I'd like for you to begin to practice is paying attention to everything that happens underneath you. Even though it's a bit foreign, even though it's a whole new language for you. Okay? So I would love to hear some thoughts, some experiences of what happened when you went down to the floor and worked with some of those ideas, some of those ground forces, some of those notions of how to be reversible, how to move in both directions very simply and easily. And this is a celebration of the concept of, or the ideal of biological fitness, and how to gradually work towards that. Okay? So once again, play with it, tell me what you think, and I will see you again next week.